Hi, I'm Diana Hoelscher with Influence for Good podcast. I hope you'll join me so that together we can be an influence for good. Today's episode is about dinner. One of the hardest things there is to do is to have an actual family dinner. Now, some of you live single, some of you, a family dinner would include an extended family, or it may include a group of close friends, a roommate, whomever it is that you live with or spend the most time with. I want to invite you to consider them the group that we're talking about doing a family dinner with. Okay, this is one of the hardest things to come up with is what to eat and then to actually make it and have the food taste good. And some people get really lost in that part of the process. And although I do think that part is really important because it brings people back to wanting more, I think I want to spend more time today not talking about cooking, not talking about meal prepping, and not talking about recipes. I want to talk about the actual engagement when you come to the table. Number one, it is always easier to just set food out in a buffet on a counter and just say, grab a plate, fill your plates. We're in a rush. And honest to goodness, it is an inconvenience that is worth the work to get everyone to sit down at the table. So, my invitation to start out with is I want you to, as we talk through this, I want you to start thinking through when you want to plan to have a family dinner. And if you need to start with once a weekers or just Sunday nights or whatever is your most like low key day, do it. Do whatever you got to do to make it happen. But I'm going to give you a piece of encouragement, and that is set the table. If you set the table, then you will sit at the table. If you don't and you make dinner, you will just grab plates and people will come just serve off the stove. So, first and foremost, set the table. Second of all, as hard as this is, you have to get everyone to the table. It is so much work to get everyone to the table. I usually offer 3 warnings. I literally have a dinner bell that I will ring. I will shout outside. I have a bunch of boys in my family and love to work in the yard or in the garage. They're always out there. So they've got to stop what they're doing and come in. Okay? And or they're upstairs, we have a big home, so they're spread out or they're not even home. So I got to text out and say, "Hey y'all, dinner's going to be 5:45 today. It's coming off hot at 5:45." And I have to make the effort to make those communications. If I've bumped into a couple of bumpy times where I've repeatedly asked people to come to the table and they're not coming, and I'm starting to get frustrated, I need to go to somebody one on one and say, "Hey, I made a really nice dinner and I'm really trying to gather everyone to the table. Can you help me?" And I go touch them on the hand and ask for one more person because they've heard it too much from me. And now I ask that person to go around one by one and get them. Maybe sometimes that's my husband, sometimes that's one of my children, but that is a big deal. If they see the dinner table is set and they've heard me calling or warning that we were going to have dinner, and I still can't get them, then I'm going to ask somebody else to be the messenger. Next is we all come to the table and you have to make sure that the music or that the TV is off. And everyone is going to bring phones with them to the table. Everybody is. And I don't like to be this big bossy. And so where I'm like, everybody phones down, you know what I mean? Or phones on the floor. And don't bring your phones to the table because it kind of starts us off at a kind of a negative tone. So oftentimes everyone will put their phones on the table and then I will immediately try to compliment whoever's done it. "Hey, bro, top of the list. Thanks for putting your phone face down so that we could have a fun family dinner. Hey, I know you're almost done with your call, but dude, way to go. Good job putting your phone down." And then if somebody does get on their phone, I'll be like, "Hey, talk to the three-dimensional people. We're here. We're here. Connect." And I'll kind of try to like do it in a loving way instead of a shaming or mad way. Or my last resort is, especially if it's been a few times that they've picked their phone back up, I'd be like, "Hey, phone's down. Hey, phone's down. Hey, tell me more about your day." And then I can try to engage them. But I'll kind of just like, "Hey, phone's down." So then that way we're all engaging and it's myself included. We all go, "Oh, something just buzzed," right? And then we just grab it and check again. And that's what the way we're all focused, right? But we really make the effort. TV off, table is set, phones are down. We, for years, did highs and lows where people would go around the room and do highs and lows. And that was a good way to do it, where they'd say something that was hard about their day and something that was great about their day. Another set of questions that we've fallen in love with is, um, did you have any spiritual conversations today? Did you have any missionary moments today where somebody asked you about, your beliefs, or did you get to share something about something you believe? Or our kids do a Bible study before they go to school in the morning. What'd you learn in your Bible study this morning? And then that's an incredible conversation to hear. I know I've got some kids that are morning people and some kids that are more like, day people, so or night people. So you can kind of gauge from who's at the table and who's struggling, where you're gonna what questions are gonna get a better answer. For years, we had a question jar on the table, and we would just pull one question. And that was a fun game to be the person to pull it if you're struggling to come up with good topics. And if anybody had a great story, that was fun. But like finding the conversations that work in your home to engage is so critical. I often have had um, friends that are my peer group moms comment on how verbal our family is and how much I know about my kids. And this is a huge reason. I have fought like a bear for family dinner to be a tradition in our family. Now, I know a lot of you are sports families and that you guys or your work gets out late or you have different work schedules and it's harder. I remember my mom had found a good system that she did during those nights where she would make crockpot dinner and she would set the table. And then as each one of us came in to eat, not all eating at the same time, she would come back and sit at the table for the 15 minutes while that one person ate. And she would talk to them about their day. And that is effort. But that's where you get that 15 minutes of real connection with your family members. You will not believe how much it enhances your family connection by doing this. Report after report, because I went to college for marriage and family therapy, I heard over and over one of the highest indicators of confidence and of stability in a family is family dinner. So let's go back. Let's say again, your family is never home during dinner time. I know one family that the mom, I asked her, "How are you doing family dinner with your schedule being what it is?" Her husband worked nights. So they would go, she would at least one night a week, she would pack up dinner or they would do like Kentucky Fried Chicken and they would all bring lawn chairs and they would open up the trunk. Everyone would pull out the lawn chairs and they'd set out KFC or burgers or tacos or whatever it was that night or sandwiches. And they would sit in the lawn chairs in the parking lot of the dad's work. And he would come out during his dinner hour one night a week and they would all sit together. Whew, that is an extra effort that they went out of their way to do that. I've also known families that when they have family dinner at the ballpark or at the soccer field, that they will pack at least one night a week where they pack a full picnic dinner where they all sit down and they still sit crisscross applesauce if that's what they need to do on a picnic blanket and they will do family dinner. I want to re-encourage you to level up and to make the effort. Let's say you just live with a roommate. I want to point out how much of an impact it makes when you put taco soup in the crock pot and dump those 8 cans and then just push start. And then you sit down and set the table. Hey, I made us dinner. Or you text them, hey, I made us dinner tonight. What time will you be home? did that for me. It is such a loving gesture that makes a big difference. So, learning to have these meaningful conversations in these moments is so profound. I encourage you always to start with a family prayer with whomever you're eating with. We have lived in the South for many years. And so we have we're really accustomed to always praying. And now we've even gone out of our way when we eat in public that we'll still pray as a family to be an example for good. It's been so fun to watch other people when we pick up our heads and then I start eating, how many people are like, and give you that little nod, like, good job, like right on. You know what I mean? How often people do that has been a really cute thing. And how often I feel that same way when I see somebody else pray. I'm like, my people. You know what I mean? And what is a beautiful little sentiment that is. But start with a family prayer. By doing that, you have now had an opportunity to sit down face to face as a cohesive group with those that you love or live with or that are your actual blood family. You've had the opportunity to do an act of kindness and service, and you've created stability and structure by having a routine that is so powerful in a family. We set the table together, we have the meal together, we clean it up together. There's so much learning that goes along with that. I can't even tell you how many times we've all done this. I cannot think of a single thing that I know that I can make. My brain is gone. I cannot think of anything. I can't even count how many times I've called somebody else and be like, "What are you making for dinner?" Whatever you're making, I'm making that for my family. I cannot come up with anything. And I will literally make whatever that lady says or whatever that friend says because it's not for me. It's not about what I'm making. It's I'm creating a moment. See, as women, we have this incredible gift to be co-creators with God. And I know that men and teenagers are listening to this as well. And I want you to recognize that this is an absolute, like, crazy superpower gift that is special in women, that we are co-creators and that we can create birth, we can create life, but that creation capacity extends that we create moments. We create learning experiences. We create experiences to feel loved and connection. It's a critical part of our creation. Some women do it through music. Some women do it through exercise. Some women do it through sports. Some women do it through decor. Some women do it through food, whatever. But we all have a way that we create moments. And this, because the dinner, I'm not a phenomenal cook and I don't love cooking, but I know the stats are so profound on how much it increases the love and connection and stability of a family by having dinner that I have fought like a bear to create this habit in our home. Even to the point in which we've opted out of some sports because it so fiercely interfered with our families together time. There are some sports that you can handle it for a few months and you've really got to fight fierce for it during those times. And there's sometimes where I'm just like, we all got to get on the same schedule where it's all of us for those 3 months, or else we're just never having dinner together. So I encourage you to consider that. Look through your schedule and see if you can line your family up to all being in sports that are only on the same 2 days a week, or that you're all in one season. So then you fight really hard for those 3 months, but that you can still secure that sacred time not be taken away. I mean, we're not accustomed to Old Testament symbolism in our lifestyles today, but the kitchen table is the altar in which we put an offering of food. If you think about it, we bow our heads and we ask Father to bless that food to sustain us while we are away from Him. When we are with God, we won't be in these physical mortal bodies anymore. We ask that food bless us and nourish us and 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 help us because we don't have immortal resurrected bodies yet. We literally, in these physical bodies, rely on God for every breath and for every bread and morsel that we put in our mouths. And so we thank him for it upon an altar that we have gathered around as a family. How cool is that? I wasn't raised in a family that prayed holding hands, but I can't believe how natural and instinctive that has become to me as a mother, how much I reach for my family members that are sitting on either side of me, whether to put my hand on their knee or my hand on their arm or even hold their hand when I pray, because there's something sacred about this unit and this moment that we're having together. And I desire that. I desire to create sacred moments. I made our kitchen table beautiful. I have literally sanded down our kitchen table 5 times and restained it and reglossed over it because it has been so well used. And I have spent years trying to draw to get them to the table, whether it's changing up different recipes or asking each night a different kid got to decide what dinner was, mostly because I just couldn't decide. But then that was such a great way for that child to engage and kind of be my wingman that night when I created the meal. Some of you are phenomenal at letting your kids help you cook. Great job. If you can do that, dazzled. And for those that it's all they can do to just warm something up, good on you. You still gathered and created that moment. Of course, you can go the extra mile and figure out ways to make it super nutritional and all of those wonderful things and beautiful meals and good. But consider choosing the moment as maybe the greatest gift. The nutrition, oh, it's good. It's so good. But what honestly is greater than teaching them that reliance on God in gratitude for their day and their food, sharing a prayer and a connection with the people that they know and love, and working to know each other and talk to each other and communicate with each other, looking each other in the eye. Oh, so beautiful. When the kids were little, we had such a hard time getting them to stay at the table. I remember before I had kids thinking that parents that were like telling their kids 3 more bites, 2 more bites. I'm like, what a control freak. Why do you care how many bites? Until I became a mom and realized those 3 bites are the only bites that they're taking. But I remember saying over and over to my children, okay, on your knees or on your bottom, on your knees or on your bottom. Oh, back up to the table. Oh, back up to the table. On your knees or on your bottom. Oh, back to the table. Standing on their chairs, climbing on the table, off the table, running away from the table, under the table. Oh, back up to the table. Oh, where'd you go? I can't see you. Where are your eyes? Back to the table. Back to the table. No, come back and stay with us. Exhausting. So we found one that was a really cute favorite tradition in our family, and it was on daylight savings. We decided every year on daylight savings to do a candlelight dinner. Now you can have it any night of the winter that you want, but when it would get dark, this became a favorite draw to pulling the family all together. Is we'd set the table, get out all the candles, and everybody had a candle right in front of their very own plate, and then several along the middle of the table. And we would light the candles and turn off every other light in the house. Now, every little kid has a pyro in them that they're just like the fire, you know what I mean? And the kids, first of all, didn't want to go off into the outer darkness. They wanted to stay by the light, which beautiful symbolism, a great thing to teach about staying close to the Lord, staying close to the good news of Jesus Christ. But then after they finished their meal, if they finished, they got to blow out their candle. And it was a favorite. Normally, maybe you could keep the kids at the table for 10, 15 minutes and you were exhausted by the time it was done. But for the candlelight dinners, we could get 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Everyone just loved being in the environment. During Christmas time, we'll put on beautiful Christmas music during dinners to create moments. And with the candlelight dinner, if you do a soft music, everything feels so fancy. Even down to little details, like when you set your table fold the napkin that the fork sits on so that it feels nice and fancy. And what a beautiful opportunity to teach manners and some of these simple moments because you're having these meals together every night. Wow. I know it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. It's a huge effort. I even have a rhyme. For me, I can make the dinner, I can get the table set, I can get everybody up to the table, I can even create the moment. But for me, drinks, I can't do it. It's too much. So I have a rhyme that I is the chant when I'm ringing the bell or calling everyone to the table that we yell up to the table, 1, 2, 3, wash your hands and get a drink. And my kids are adults, and I'll sing it, and they'll chime in along, and they'll start singing it. And there's even a little bit of 1, 2, up, sound off. And it becomes this cute little fun because I'm trying to bring them to the table to have a happy experience, not get to the table. How many times did I ring the bell? And honestly, I have deliberately created a tone and a rhyme that number one acknowledged I could not get their drinks. It was too much. And number two, that it was a fun thing that we were all coming and gathering together to do. And I needed to create that rhyme so that my tone of voice didn't sound as exhausted as I am by the time dinner is happening. One more thing. If the moment is king, creating this moment is the king, the best part of this. Who cares if what you're eating is cereal? Who cares if what you're eating is on paper plates? Who cares if it's frozen pizza? Sit at the table, have a conversation, and create a moment. Whether it's a roommate, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family or your extended family. I promise this battle, even if it's once a week, but fight for it until you can develop the habit of every night. I testify that as you create that community and that connection, you will create a Zion like family, a family you want to spend time with. Create moments that they love and that they enjoy. You create a place that is a place of safety where the Spirit is there. I promise that this will be an incredible influence for good that you can have on your friends and your family. It's worth the work. I promise. Let's you and me be an influence for good. Set a goal this week to up your family dinner. If you're not used to doing it every night, try it every night. If you're not used to doing it at all, set a goal to do it once. If you're not used to setting the table, set the table. Do something to level it up and find great conversation when you're at the table. Hey, thanks for listening to Influence for Good podcast. Would you please take a second before you move on with your day and just think about the things that we talked about? Is there anyone in your life, your friends, your family members, your coworkers, that might need to hear this message? Sometimes a lesson that a parent or a boss or a coworker has said a million times can't be heard and can't be received except through a third-person party. If there was something in today's message that you feel like could help a friend, will you please take a minute to just share it with them so that together we can be an influence for good?